Hello and welcome back to the Small Print Podcast. I'm your host Elise and I blog at roulettereader.wordpress.com.
And I'm Dawn and I blog at bingbangbbookblog.com.
And today we're doing something that's not a review, obviously. We're going to bring you our mid-year book awards. So it's kind of like the Academy Awards except for books. We've gone through everything that we read kind of like from fall of last year to about now.
Yeah.
And we've given it like best book, best, character. We'll explain each as we go through it. So let's get started.
All right. So we'll start with the loser ones, the best costume. Like at the Academy Awards, they start with the loser awards. And so ours is best costume or best cover. And I chose The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue.
Oh yeah, that's a great cover.
Yeah. The book I didn't care for too much, but I really do like the cover of the fancy gentleman.
Yeah,
on
great
the cover.
Font too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Mine was Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I believe that's her last name. Is that her
Yes.
last name? Yeah, okay. I love that cover, and that's initially what drew me to read the book, and unfortunately, like your choice, I didn't end up walking away liking the book all that much.
I didn't understand the cover because it was a snow globe. But...
It's a snow globe with a rose inside of it, and it's like on a bed of snow. I will agree that the cover is not necessarily indicative of the plot at all, other than winter.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Either way, it's a cool cover.
Okay. Next is Best Documentary or Historical Fiction. And I have not read any historical fiction this year, so I had to go back to... Actually, it was not the fall of 2016.
Yeah.
It
was like the
Yeah.
spring.
Not even. Winter. So I chose The Passion of Dosa.
Oh, wow.
It takes place in the 13th century? I don't know. But it's France, 13th century, whenever the Spanish Inquisition was. But yeah, it's a Prince honor book. It was I don't really like historical fiction, so for me to like get through this character-driven book and really enjoy it was a feat.
My best historical fiction is Salt to the Sea by Rudis Pettis. I love historical fiction, but I haven't read any in a very long time.
Nothing's come out yet.
Because I'm like, I usually always mark that stuff TBR. I did recently finish a historical fantasy, but that's not quite the same thing. But yeah, I was going through my list like, wow, I thought I had read more historical fiction this year, but apparently I did not. But anyway, Rudis Pettis' book, Salt of the Sea, is phenomenal if you haven't read that yet, so that definitely goes to her.
Cool. Next is Best Visual Effects, and that is...
like, Best Action Sequences.
Best Action Sequence. Am I still going to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, I originally had Ship Beyond Time because the opening sequence is pretty good. And that's about all that's good about that book. But
okay, slip that in there.
I switched it to Nevernight by J.
Asher? No, J.
Kristoff.
Okay.
I always get them mixed up. Because the very end, there's a scene at the very end that's quite like graphic and not graphic gross, but just like bloody and it's a pretty great scene. So I will go with that.
My best visual effects / action pick was Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. Her book has some really, like you said, graphic, like action scenes and just really unique visuals. And the ending was pretty intense in terms of like action and plot sequences. So that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Next one is Best Adapted Screenplay, which we did as a debut.
Like debut authors.
Debut author.
Yeah.
So, I had a different book, but I used that book too many times, and I didn't want to do that. So, I had to go back to the fall, and I chose The Reader by Tracy Chee, because even up to this point, I think for a debut, her book was fantastic. Especially a fantasy debut is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Contemporary debut, you can kind of get away with being a good book, but I think fantasy is a challenge, and I thought that she did a really good job. And I'm really excited for her next book.
I totally agree, and I had to not put her for this one because,
You had
like
her
you said, right, I have her in other categories. So my best adapted / debut is going to be Angie Thomas's The Hate U Give. I liked that book. I thought it was a really strong debut. I gave it 4.5 stars.
Yeah, it's a strong debut.
It's a strong one. But it's like you said, contemporary. It's about a contemporary issue. She kind of has that going for her too. So, yes.
Next is Best Original Screenplay, quote unquote, and that is, what is that?
Best plot
I
and
need
or
to take
like
better
world
notes.
building.
So sorry.
It's a best
all over
world
the place.
building.
Okay. So I chose Face Like Glass by
that's good.
Frances Hardinge. The book, I thought the book had too much in it. She needed some editing. But the world that she built, it's like an underground Italian tunnels. She is first found in a vat of cheese, and you have these cartographers who, if they just go nuts, and if you talk to them for longer than 5 minutes, you go nuts too, like you go insane. It's even just the whole concept of when you're born you have to learn facial expressions. Like, her world is fantastic. It's a lot going on, but her world is pretty good.
My pick for that category is I never know how to pronounce this title. Maresi by Maria Turchaninov.
Well, you know how to say Turchaninov?
Right. It's like, is it a long E or a short? I don't know. This world was very unique in that it's just so cryptic. Like, we're only with these characters and this world a short time. It's yet at the same time like really well planned. There's a religion behind it. There's a very strict like code of conduct for the way these women live. It's very feminine based. Like, there's no men allowed. There's a very particular reason for that. They have like, it's just like it's been there forever, but yet it hasn't. I don't know. They have temples and gardens, and it's really, really cool. That was my favorite part about that whole book. I can edit that out. God damn it. Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Next is Best Cinematography. Did we do that?
No.
Best Cinematography is Plot Twist.
Ooh.
And I like how you say that, like you didn't know
love plot twists.
what's gonna happen. So I chose The Reader. The whole book was fantastic. And
that was a shocking twist. Too.
It was a twist.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming at all. There are a couple of twists in that book.
Yeah.
Like, the whole book is twisty.
That's true.
So I can't really talk about too much.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
My choice for best plot twist was Gilded Cage. This was also a debut. I had to really pick which one I put this one in, but yeah, again, can't say too much about it. That book had some shocking twists and turns throughout the majority of like the second half, and then the last part of the book, you know, you're just like, ooh.
Yeah, I almost put that, but I kind of guessed the twist.
And see, I never do.
So
I don't try though.
I wasn't trying. Actually, I was trying with this one, and even though I was right, it didn't like make the book.
Yeah. And
like,
that's when
worse
it's a
or
good
anything.
twist.
Yeah.
That's when it's a good twist. When you're sitting there like, okay, I can call what's happening. It's like, ugh. I never try to, but if it's just coming at me, where it's like, I know what's going to happen, no.
Yeah, we've read a couple of those already this year.
Yes, we have.
And the next one is Supporting Actor.
All right.
So
this
go ahead.
one, I have the reader for because I really enjoyed the character whose name I cannot
I swear
remember.
it's Arthur. Arthur? I can't say that word.
I have never read anything with the name Arthur.
Arthur.
I mean, really.
I'm sorry.
I don't think it's Arthur. I think it's something with a J. We don't have the book in front of us, so we can't verify. And then Goodreads did not have his name anywhere.
I know.
Is it a
secret.
spoiler?
No.
I'm like, what the heck? But he was a great character despite the fact that he literally can't speak as of right now. But he brought kind of that next level to the book that I really liked. So, yeah.
What are we, supporting actor?
Supporting actor.
I don't have my notes in order. Sorry, guys.
I am.
That's pretty bad. Oh, sorry. I have Cillian from Gilded Cage because he's very mysterious. Even though you don't really know what his jam is, he's still a good character in the first book. And I'm really excited to find out why he's doing certain things that he does.
Yeah,
He's
that's a
kind
really
of
good
snarky
choice.
at the same time, but then he helps them, and
Mhm.
he's a
Yeah,
weird
he
character.
acts like he's their enemy, but then he
Helps them.
helps
It's weird.
them in the same turn of a page. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Our next one is Best Supporting Actress. And I have Maricita from All the Crooked Saints. Again, can't say too much about this one because the book isn't out yet. But for a very minor character, not even very minor, but for a minor character, she commands like the stage, if you will, when she's on the page. Her story is interesting. Her physical description is really unique. The role that she plays in the book and affecting the plot is really cool as well. So if you're planning on reading All the Crooked Saints, pay attention to her character because she really kind of made the book for me.
Yeah,
I felt like
I forgot about her.
Yeah.
So I don't remember this character's name. Sorry. I think it's Mina from Strange the Dreamer.
Oh.
She is one of the blue people, and she's one of the goddesses. And she's actually like 20 years old, but she's stuck in a 6-year-old body. So she's older than everybody else. And she behaves that way, and they listen to her because she's older than them. But she's in this little 6-year-old body, and she is a bitch. And she is great. Because she's 6. And she's just like telling them what to do. And they're just like, oh God, they're scared of her. It's great.
It's like the girl from Game of Thrones. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love those types of characters. All right. Now we're getting into the leading male. So, yes.
You?
This one I struggled with because there was quite a few that I wanted to put down.
Oh,
so
opposite.
I just went with my favorite, which is Kaz from the Six of Crows Crooked Kingdom.
You went back.
I did.
Didn't go back.
Yeah, I went back to 2016. So
yeah.
I just love his character. That's all there is to say.
Yeah, he's got lots of dimensions. I didn't think to go back to 2016, so I struggled with this. So I ended up picking Jen from the Queen's Thief series.
You know what? I thought about putting that.
Is coming
out.
I
thought about that.
Thick as Thieves is coming out from Megan Wallen Turner, and I like Jen a lot. He's a strong character, but he's also very flawed, and he's not afraid to like cry and be weak, but at the same time he's smarter than everybody else in the room, and he lets you know it. So he's quite a dynamic character, and I liked him a lot.
And I like that you don't realize his dynamism until you get to the end of the book. It's not one of those where the author has info dumped his entire story in the beginning, and then you kind of are just piecing him together. It was great, very well written.
Leading lady? Leading lady, I chose Beatrice from Crooked Saints. I can't remember what they called her. She had a nickname.
The girl without feelings. The girl without emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She only cared about how butterflies and something were similar, and she didn't care about anything else. And she was very smart, and she knew what she wanted, and I don't know, I thought she was just, her whole attitude, as like an 11-year-old, she's like theorizing if horses are human and like
have humanity.
Yeah, like she's just a great character.
Yeah, she was cool. I didn't quite connect with her as much as I did with Maricita, but she was a good leading lady. Yeah. My leading lady is Gauri from Crown of Wishes. Just very, very driven character. She knows exactly what she wants, but she does have flaws, and they were written in a way that wasn't obnoxious and getting in the way of the plot at every freaking turn, which I feel like authors feel they need to do to demonstrate that flaw. That did not happen here. She was just interesting. I loved her personality. She's funny. She's fierce. I would love another book on her, but I don't think that's going to happen because this seems to be a 2-book series. Anywho, yeah. That's my pick.
All right. Second to last, we're at Best Director.
We are.
And Best Director...
Best Director is Best Author. My Best Director and Author is Leigh Bardugo. I did not really appreciate her first series as much, but again, with the Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom, I feel like she really hit her stride last year and recently. I'm really excited to read her short story anthology that's coming out this year too.
Yeah. I struggled. I decided to stick to 2016, otherwise I would have put Bardugs. But I decided...
Bardugs!
The Bardugs. I decided to stick to this year, and I didn't want to do Steve Otter because I did Crooked Saints already. So I actually chose the author of Dragons of Loom, Elise Kova. And I chose her because this was one of my top 3 books of the year so far. And because of her world building, she writes a pretty basic plot. It's the little guy against the big guy, the all powerful god. But she's mixed in steampunk, and her characters are like pink and gray, and there are dragons who look like people, and there are chimeras, and they like get other people's body parts, and you can have other kind of powers depending on what body part you take. So I thought that her world was quite fascinating and something I've never read before. So she's not a debut or anything like that. So I really liked her series, so I chose her.
Last but not least, the ultimate award for best book. I will just put mine out there. My favorite book was Crown of Wishes. As I'm sure if you listen to our podcast, you've heard me mention this book several times, how amazing I thought it was. It's like you said, what I read in that book I had not read yet. I hadn't experienced a world like that, or a conflict like that, or villains like those. There were several. Or even like a romance the romance that she sets up was very unique as well.
Was that this year?
It was last year.
Oh,
No. Yeah, she came out with that this year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, good.
Good
I thought I was going back. I know.
It's only June. Okay.
Yes, what was that, a March publication?
I think so.
May? I can't remember. But yes, it is a recent pub. And so if you haven't read that and you're interested, it's really heavy with like Indian mythology, and it's really good. So that's my best book.
My best book, it's like I said, it's May, and I usually have like several 5-star ratings, and I only have one this year.
Yeah.
And so I gave it to Crooked Saints by Steve Otter. And it took me a while to like this book. I really had to think about it, and I had to talk to Elise about it. And it's just one of those books where you have to discuss it because of all the metaphors and symbolism and everything. And that's why I chose it as the best book. It's everything she writes is purposeful, and you can pick it apart for days, and everybody's going to get something different out of it. And it's multi-themed, and the characters are great. And it's set in the 60s with like the music is
like pirate radio and
yeah,
like the old classics like Loretta Lynn, and
so it was a beautiful book about everything that people can relate to, which is just what was it?
Well, it's all about family issues, and accepting your own faults, and
getting over
history
it,
and
doing something about it. And so
very, very relevant theme. It's definitely not a new theme by any chance, but the way she writes it, the way she presents it was unbelievably great.
Yeah. And the fact that you as the reader have to suspend your thinking as you're reading these characters, it's not just a priest, he does actually have a coyote for a head, and you have to like just go with it. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you can be in this real like contemporary world, not contemporary but realistic world, but these characters are literally being rained on, or they're connected with snakes, and the fact that you're not reading it thinking to yourself, you're like, okay, sure, that could happen. That's pretty good writing if you can pull that off. So.
Definitely.
So those are awards.
I feel like we should have like clapping in the background. Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure what we're going to be podcasting. Maybe Flame in the Mist.
Yeah, we thought today was supposed to be Flame in the Mist, but I've been reading just way too slowly, so I wasn't able to get that book down.
Yeah.
So
hopefully we'll
bring you that next time. Hopefully.
All right. So we'll catch you in the next podcast.